Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video. Today I'm doing a video on my thoughts on the New York Comic Con panel for 2020, which aired, if I'm not mistaken, I think the 8th of October. Yeah, it was pretty bad, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, I think, much like most people, I overhyped it in my head. And I think, I feel like if I had to give it an arbitrary number out of 10, I'd probably give it like a 5 out of 10. It was okay, but it was pretty disappointing. Like, I think we were all expecting like a trailer. And I mean by trailer, I personally don't even mean like a full-on trailer. I almost expected just a preview trailer, almost like just a minute or two of footage, which really isn't a lot when you think of the fact that, when you put it into context of the fact that this is going to be like I would assume a feature-length episode, like 60 minutes, like Resolution Resolution was, because that was an hour-long special. So, so again, a minute or two of footage, or even, or sneak peek, sort of thing, wouldn't be unreasonable, I don't think. But instead, what we did get was 2 images, one of which isn't even really that amazing or that, like, worth talking about. It's literally just Graham, Yaz, and Ryan just sat at Ryan's table, which we've seen in a handful of episodes now. That seems to be the core sort of base of operations when the Doctor's not around, or even if the Doctor is around but they're on Earth. That seems to be the new sort of base of operations, so that's a thing, I guess. The other more interesting picture we got was the fact that the Doctor is in this sort of jumpsuit, this red jumpsuit thing, and then there's loads and loads of tallies on the prison walls and that, indicating that she has been there for years and years and years, which I really like, because part of me likes the idea of maybe there being a big gap between the Timeless Children and this story, because other than that potential thing being a thing, the only other time that we've had like a big major time jump and or gap between an episode of sorts is the beginning bit of Battle of Ranskoy Kolos and the rest of Battle of Ranskoy Kolon. Because if you recall, when Tim Shaw's on that place with the Oaks, then it cuts to the TARDIS, but then the TARDIS, or before that, it says like 3,584 years later, but other than that, they've never done any time jumps or anything where, the Doctor's been away or done something and there's been lots of time pass, I mean, the Moffat era was very renowned for doing that a lot, on like Trenzalore, or in the, not Pandorica, in the Pandorica, on Trenzalore, in the Confession Dial, lots and lots of time passed, so there's like a gap there that, the comics or the books or Big Finish in particular, can kind of fill in those gaps, as it were. And that, whereas with the Whittaker era, there just doesn't seem to be that many gaps of that sort of particular sort of thing, those particular sort of gaps. One positive I will say is that I do like the sort of picture with the prison picture. She looks like she's got a lot more darker, browner hair, which is weird. I was going to say her hair's really short, but to be fair, her hair's always pretty short. It looks a lot more sort of, for lack of a better term, bristly, like it hasn't been cleaned or washed, which is kind of cool, because again, she's got this sort of, more potentially, beaten down sort of look to her, which would be interesting to see a bit, not so much a darker 13th Doctor, but at least an unhappier, less optimistic 13th Doctor, because she's potentially been in this prison for hundreds and hundreds of years, which, to be fair, is probably not that long off of her life, but still is a substantial chunk to make her be a bit like, yeah, actually everything's a bit shit. And especially with, obviously, the previous episode being such a sort of info dump of all this new knowledge for the main character. And I guess as well, for argument's sake, this really does give her a lot of time to reflect and dissect and chew on that revelation of the timeless child. You know, regardless of whether or not you as a fan liked the reveal or not, the character, I would assume the Doctor would need to, you know, sort of process that information, I would assume, regardless of whether or not you're a fan who likes the Timeless Children or not, or the Timeless Child revelation or not. We know that the gang and or fam, if you will, are on Earth, and that obviously they're separated from the Doctor. And that, I mean, a big rumour is that Captain Jack is going to be in this episode. I'm getting, the more closer we are to this episode, the more I'm worried that he's probably not going to be in it. Although then it would be a massive, colossal waste of getting him just in the one episode in Series 12. I think, honestly, this has the potential to be sort of a Face the Raven / Hellbent sort of scenario where if they don't have Captain Jack there, then this potentially, for me at least, and maybe other fans, might actually somewhat tarnish the reputation and or rating of Fugitive of the Judoon, depending on whether or not they have Captain Jack in this episode. But then again, you could argue if they don't have him in this episode, they could still have him in the premiere of Series 13, you know, because technically I guess this, I don't know, would this be included in Series 13? Because apparently Resolution is part of Series 12's box set, DVD / Blu-ray box set, which I didn't know because, you know, I have Resolution singly, which I will sell when I get Series 12, hopefully for Christmas this year. But, as I say, will that happen with Series 13 when that comes out, or not? I don't know, but because if that is the case, then this technically is kind of like the proper first episode of Series 13, and then episode, whatever the next episode is. But yeah, we don't even know if it's a Christmas special or if it's a New Year's special. They didn't even give us that information, which is pretty stupid. The very little information they did give us was, as I say, those 2 promo images, one of which didn't even have a fucking Dalek, which is stupid because we know Daleks are in it, so why you wouldn't have just shown us a Dalek, I don't know. It's pretty heavily rumoured as well that Graham and or Bradley Walsh and Tosin Cole as Ryan Sinclair, don't you dare, will both be exiting this episode. In a weird macabre way, I want one of them to die and then the other be so shocked that they just can't bring themselves to be on the TARDIS anymore, although then I guess it would make not that much sense then for Yaz to stay on because she's the one with the mental health, the mentalness as a character, you know, the sort of spoiler alert for Series 12, I guess. But yeah, basically this whole New York Comic Con thing was just more of a refresh and PSA and or like sort of refresh on the last series, and that was about it. 3 mates / actors talking about Series 12 and how that went, which I don't mind, but I think if we'd known that going in, myself and other fans would not be as pissed as we are, and or disappointed, and or, yeah, just left being like, oh, that was it, really, you know, because I went in expecting, as I say, at least a minute or two, or, you know, a minute or two / like teaser trailer, not even a full-on trailer, like a teaser trailer, or maybe a trailer, like 5 or 10 minutes trailer, maybe. But then again, it is the Chris Chibnall era where nothing makes fucking sense anymore in terms of how they market Doctor Who, which is just, you know, market it like a week or two just before the episode, which makes literally no fucking sense, because by that point, myself and other fans are either already super hyped for it, or just super not hyped for it. Like, a trailer at that point, unless it's a really, really good fucking trailer, isn't probably going to change his minds that much, I would assume. You know, I mean, Whittaker was really cool in this panel. I like the panelist, or the person who was doing the interviewing thing. John Barrowman wasn't in this, and that's why I'm sceptical that he might be in the new one. But then again, it's like, how the hell do Ryan, Graham and he has just defeated an army of Daleks as well, I might add. It's not just the one Dalek, which then begs the question. I reckon that one Dalek in Resolution did actually send the signal out. The signal did actually make it to Skaro, and this is what's happened now. You know, and as well there are rumours that potentially it's going to be a Dalek Civil War, because there are bronze and gold Daleks that have claws, and then there's a black Dalek that's like designed like Rusty and or not Rusty, sorry, the one from the farmhouse Dalek from Resolution, you know, but it's slicker, it's nicer, it's actual built like that one, like a proper version of that one, but in black and grey, which I actually quite like the design of, personally. I know a lot of fans freaked out and as per usual said, no, this is shit, go back to the old ones. But the old ones are there, but instead of plungers and or normal plunger manipulator arms, they had like claw-like, pincer-like things. So yeah, I personally think there's going to be a bit of a maybe Dalek Civil War, with Earth being the battleground. And as I say, I think Graham or Ryan or one of them is going to get killed, hopefully exterminated by a Dalek. That would be awesome. Really sort of just build on the momentum of Resolution, and that the Daleks are a threat again, and a powerhouse and a menace to society, you know, and that they are something to be threatened about or be taken seriously, and are a threat in the Doctor Who universe, and that, you know, and I think as well it's really brilliant having them only appear, you know, yearly or annually, but in these big blockbuster specials, you know, that in itself shows that Chris Chibnall and the team have them in this sort of A-League pedestal, you know, as baddies and that, and I like that. I just need them to really hit home with some really good Dalek stories. I mean, don't get me wrong, Resolution was good, and a really good, strong starting point and or solid foundation. As I say, I just want the momentum to be kept and that. But I am cautious about this and cautiously optimistic. But I am worried that it might be a bit of a misfire. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, again, I have nothing really to go on. And as I say, the reason why I'm not talking a lot about this New York Comic Con panel is just because we didn't really get a lot to chew on as fans. We didn't get a lot of new details, release date, more images, you know, or better images, you know. We got 2 images, and as I say, one was really crap, the other was more interesting, but there's not a lot in there. And then, as I say, one other thing I will say was really nice was the fact that Bradley Walsh was in this, because I don't think I've seen a lot of interviews with him, other than the behind the scenes stuff on the Doctor Who DVDs and extras. Other than that, and maybe the occasional interview on, like, you know, Good Morning Britain or Loose Women or whatever, you know, sort of crap like that. They're the 2 extremes that I've seen him in, and that's about it. You know, I've never actually seen him on like a panel like thing like this, so it was really cool to see Bradley Walsh there, and his level of passion is great, you know, and he is very much the sort of Wilfred Mott of this era, you know. He's very much that sort of A-lister actor, other than I guess Whittaker, and or, you know, he's a more recognisable name and or person who, you know, everyone kind of has some idea of who he is, even though a lot of people, myself included, were worried that he was just going to be the comedic actor and that's it, and just be a bit of a joke and ham it up, and he's been phenomenal, honestly. And the range that he's given, and yeah, he's amazing. But yeah, that was about it. As I say, I'd give this New York Comic Con panel a 5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Please do comment, rate and subscribe.